Hello, and welcome to Lesson 3, Consciousness. Today, LEP Education presents, Does Consciousness Need a Brain? Is Consciousness and the Brain the Same? Hi, my name is Dr. Anna Harvey, Dr. Phenomena, and today we are going to discuss consciousness. So, is there a connection between the two, or are they the same? There is a correlation between the brain and consciousness, but it is a correlation, not causality. This means that thinking, perception, and memory are involved in the brain somewhat, but it does not suggest that thinking, perception, and memory causes this activity. These things take place somewhere in the consciousness, somewhere different from the brain, but receives the information through the brain, meaning that thinking, perception, memory are funneled through the brain, but they don't originate in the brain. For example, it is almost like a telephone. The brain is like a telephone. The telephone doesn't originate the message. Someone's consciousness does that, but it's processed through the telephone. Same with consciousness when it's looking at the processes. Consciousness is something outside of the telephone, which is equivalent to the brain. Because consciousness gives the thoughts, the messages is channeled through the telephone, which is the brain, to make it simple for understanding purposes. So the message does not originate with the phone, but originates in the consciousness, which concludes that the brain and consciousness, in fact, are very different functions. There is major disagreement as to what consciousness really is, but most scientists agree that consciousness is necessary to life. Max Planck regarded consciousness as fundamental to the existence of the universe. He argued that everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness, and that consciousness is the spirit of all matter. Thus, spirit is the source of all consciousness. He talked about source consciousness as God, that kind of an energy, not as a he or she, but as that collective energy of spirit. Dr. Hawkins contended that consciousness is the ultimate source of all existence, and there's a condition behind time and space. You see, the field of consciousness itself is infinitely powerful when it interacts with matter of this planet, because out of consciousness comes awareness. Consciousness is realized in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. This is why it is connected to the brain, as I said, like a telephone. But everything that you see and hear and smell and experience is through that prefrontal cortex, which gives you that message. But it doesn't originate the message originates in the consciousness. You see, the higher the vibrational frequency, the more expansive your consciousness becomes and the greater power you possess, because the measurement of consciousness determines your vibrational frequencies. Therefore, the higher the frequencies, because your consciousness has expanded, the more positive your experiences and interactions with energies are, because you are vibrating at a higher frequency. Thus, you have more power at your disposal and can tap into higher energy frequencies, which can be returned to you now through the law of vibration, the law of polarity, and the law of frequency. Okay, attraction, polarity, and the law of frequency, which is going to ensure that that polarity, okay, is returned to you. Also, I wanted to mention that energy is just a vibrational force, that your spirit is evolving at all times, and that the higher the vibrational force, the higher the amount of energy one has, because every soul has a specific energy field, that vibrational signature, that is the cumulative of your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and sensory consciousness field. That vibrational signature, that overall vibrational collective signature, is your immortal blueprint, and it defines the character and who you are to the energy, so it can return that energy to you. In other words, you are born with a certain vibrational frequency, and it is up to you to make progress on this earth and raise your vibrational frequency so that you can easily bring thoughts from your mind into your vibrational frequencies. Okay? And, you know, everything in your life can be affected by where you are vibrating through your consciousness. And again, your consciousness is not your brain. Your consciousness is an outside energy field that funnels messages through your brain. And that is through consciousness, through that awareness, that you're able to use energy. Next lesson, which is also part of lesson 3, we'll talk about frequencies and how to use those frequencies and energy. Thank you.